Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you, and let's get right on into it. All right, NIO. NIO has been taking it on the chin about like every other stock out there, especially the high growth ones. The China stocks even more because of the China crackdown and all of that fear that's out there. So let's talk about NIO and this new ET5. All right, and the big question is, we already know the ET7 is coming out very soon, and the ET5 has just been announced at NIO Day, and it looks pretty outstanding as well. And will that lead to a major rebound in 2022? So let's get all into that. All right, as you know, NIO's been taking it on the chin like every other stock out there. This has been a really rough market. It did have a little bit of a rebound yesterday, which was nice to see. But this new version of the Rona has been pretty much a nightmare. And like I said, I really can't say the name out there because YouTube gets all upset and it timestamps you and shadow bans you and everything else. But it's really been a pain, and every version just seems to cause more chaos. So NIO has taken it on the chin because of that and other reasons. And we'll discuss that and what we think 2022 is looking like. But for NIO, it's been pretty much like this. Yeah, it's been pretty much a battle. And NIO's been taking it pretty hard, and it's been a heck of a battle. But like I said, I think NIO's looking good for the future. That's just my opinion, of course. But I feel good about it in the future, and let's talk about the reasons why. All right, as you can see, that's a pretty outstanding looking vehicle, and that's going to be going around $50,000 a piece. And of course, as you know, the ET7, which will be coming out in March, is going to be going around $70,000. So having a lower priced EV for the Chinese market, and of course, sedans are the #1 selling vehicle in China, and they don't even have one until the ET7 shows up. Now they're going to have that sort of middle of the road vehicle that'll probably sell even at a higher level than the ET7, which again, they're expecting like 50,000 ET7 sales in the first year, which is outstanding. And again, at 70,000, you know that's going to be a very profitable vehicle and probably their flagship vehicle as well. But now with the ET5 coming out, I believe it's in September, that's just yet another great vehicle for them to really hit the middle of the market, so to speak. And of course, you know, with NIO, it's high end. This is the high end Cadillac, Lexus, whatever you want to call it, type of vehicle. And the reason I'm so interested in NIO, besides the obvious reason, but it's that's where the money is. You know, the high priced vehicles is where most of the profit is in the automobile industry. It's just kind of the way it is. So NIO, of course, interests me, and I couldn't be more fired up about EVs anyway. So let's take a look at their deliveries. Now, as you know, we had a real bad October with the NIO deliveries due to the fact that they spent about 2 weeks working on their factory in order to not only get the ET7 line ready, but also to increase the ability to produce vehicles from 120,000 a year to 240,000 a year. And of course, NIO Park is coming up pretty soon, coming in 2022, where they'll be able to basically more than double that number over time. So NIO is going to become a major player. And let's also remember, they said they plan on being in 25 countries by 2025. And really, they're only in China right now. They've got a little bit in Norway, but soon it'll be Germany and so on and so forth. So it's only a matter of time before they're in many, many countries and selling lots of vehicles. But as you can see, in November, they had a record number. They had almost 11,000 vehicles, and they did manage to suffer in October, which is not unexpected when you shut down your lines. And of course, they had the 1 week holiday in China, which is the first week of October, and basically the whole country shuts down. So Chucky came in and he did his damage, but I was real pleased to see these numbers in November. And that makes me feel like maybe they're coming up with a solution for the chip shortage. I think it's going to be around, based on the interview I saw with the CEO, William Lee, and he said they are expecting the chip shortage to wane significantly by the middle of the year. But I think they'll still be sort of battling the first and second quarter. But let's remember, in the first quarter is when the lowest automobile sales are typically in the auto industry. So the chip shortage shouldn't be as much of a problem because demand will be lower. And again, they're upping the supply of chips on a regular basis. They're trying to make them as fast as they can, obviously. So I think the first quarter shouldn't be highly affected as much by the chip shortage. Now the stock itself is sitting around 30 bucks. It had dropped as much as $28. It came up about 7 or 8% yesterday, and now it's up down about 1%. I do not expect it to sit down here very long. I've been buying below the 34.80 mark. I bought at 34.80 and then like 32. Obviously, if I'd had a crystal ball, I'd have waited for it to drop down in the 29s. But, you know, that's how it goes. Now, again, this is a swing trade I'm working on. I have a long position, significant long position in NIO, where I started buying it at 15 bucks. And bought it all the way up into the mid-30s. This is a stock that I've already swing traded twice. I bought it below the 34.80, sold it up in here, bought it again here, sold half right here. When the October numbers came out, I was concerned that might hurt the stock. But when it dropped back below this base of support, I bought again and refilled my swing position. I even took some of the profit from those swing trades and put it in there as well, because I think long-term this thing's going to be fine. I had been calling for $54 by the end of the year. But with this newest version of the Rona coming out and knocking the crap out of the entire world, that's played a huge role in this. So that's going to push back my numbers. And I think 54 is obviously going to happen once we get past this Rona version, which we'll see what happens. I think the FDA just approved a pill that's supposed to be helping with that just came out today. So maybe that will help in this. We'll see how it goes. And again, I've been calling long-term for this thing to hit a $90 price target, and that may seem like pie in the sky, but let me show you this. As you can see right here with tip ranks, we've got 9 ratings, all on a strong buy. They're calling for a $60 price target, which is over 100% return on investment if it plays out over the next 12 months, a high of 87, a low of 45. So even the lowest worst-case scenario, they're talking about a 50% advance. And that's out of 9 analysts. So that's really strong. So that's another reason to feel good about this stock long term. Now, I understand we've got some major problems with NIO and really every stock out there. First, you've got the China crackdown, which is unique to the Chinese stocks. Then you've got, of course, the Rona and the newest version of that. And this two-headed beast has really been a problem. And I'm hoping this will go away in the next few months. We'll see how that all plays out. But it's hard to deal with that. Then you've got this little guy. And this fella's been a nightmare for every car company out there, and that's Chip here, Mr. Chip Shortage. He's caused nothing but fear and anxiety for every car company out there because they can't build them fast enough, even though demand is there. Now, one of the things that we've been hearing is that there was like 100,000 pre-orders for the ET5. Now, a NIO exec has denied that rumor. However, we do hear that the pre-orders are really high. They never give you the exact numbers, but again, they're expecting to sell 50,000 ET7s in 2022. And I would think over time, the ET5 will even be more popular than that. So I think the pre-orders are really strong for this vehicle. And as you can see, it's a beautiful vehicle that should do really well in the Chinese market and probably all over the world. And you're seeing a lot of articles out there that talking about NIO being a good buy. And this is one from the Motley Fool where they're talking about that very thing. And of course, they're talking about Morgan Stanley analyst reiterating the bank's overweight rating of a $66 price target on NIO. And again, that's one of about 9 that are doing the same thing. And here they're talking about where the ET5 is going to have a 620-mile range, which is unbelievable. But again, let's realize that's probably optimistic because the way they do it in China, it's probably going to be less than that, but that's still just absolutely outstanding range. And of course, it's going to be lighter weight than the ET7. So of course, that would make sense that it would go further on range. But again, that's, you know, if it's around 500 or so, that's just fantastic. Plus, they got the battery swapping technology. If somebody wants to take advantage of that, they can swap it out in 5 minutes. So again, range is gone. Range anxiety is gone. So the big issue on any Chinese stock is, are you willing to take the risk? Now, understand this. If you are not comfortable with the China crackdown risk and the Chinese stocks and the possibility of delisting, that's a real concern. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you saying, I just can't handle that risk. For me, I'm okay with it because I think the Chinese The government is desperate to get into the automobile industry and be a big player in it, and they want their companies to succeed and be all over the world. I don't think they'll crack down on them. If they do, I think it'll be limited, but that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. And if you are uncomfortable with any Chinese stock, the best thing to do is probably this.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
That's right. Just run away. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, this is a stock I'm comfortable with. I know there's risk, but there's big time upside with this stock. And the reason I called for 90 is because I think it'll reach that probably in the next 12 months or so, or less time. I mean, it could be the middle of next year. Now, I think it'll pull back down after that. I'm not talking about it being at 90 long term. I think it'll pull back down into probably the mid high 60s and then start marching up again. But realize that's not everybody's opinion. That's mine and mine alone. But there are 9 other people out there that do this professionally that think it's going to more than double. So I feel pretty good about where I think this stock's headed, and that's why I'm willing to take that risk. If I only thought it could go up 10% the next year, I wouldn't do it. That wouldn't make any sense to take the risk level that you'd have to buy NIO. So again, it's up to you. It's your money. You do as you please. All right, folks, and that's NIO today. And just wanted to cover the ET5 and talk about that, and the ET7 that's coming out in March. I think that's pretty exciting, and I see a major rebound in 2022 to answer the question of this thumbnail. Yes, I do see a rebound, but that's my opinion, and I'm pretty excited about this company long term. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover NIO. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Give the channel a chance. And I hope you did like the content. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.